Good day. Good day to everyone out there, and welcome to Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am Sean Farrell. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. And let's get into it. So the 1983 NBA Finals, okay? Sixers and Lakers. And the Philadelphia 76ers were 0-3 in the NBA Finals up until that point, okay? But they brought in Moses Malone for the 83 season to team with Dr. J. Then you had the Boston Strangler, Andrew Toney. Then you had role players like Bobby Jones, who was an excellent defensive player. Then, of course, you had Mo Cheeks. Then you had guys like Clint Richardson. You had guys like Mark Ivoroni. You had guys like Clement Johnson, Franklin Edwards, I believe his name was. Ward number 14, I think his name was Franklin Edwards, something like that. But yeah, so Moses Malone put him over the top, and they got past and they swept the Knicks in 4. Swept the Bucks in 4. Well, no. Beat the Bucks in 5. Then turn around and sweep up the Lakers in the NBA Finals. That was made Moses Malone's foo. Yeah, that's how Dennis Scott said it. Foo. But the Lakers were not healthy going into the 83 playoffs. James Worthy broke his leg in like the final week of the regular season that year. Bob McAdoo was injured for large portions of the playoffs and couldn't play. And if he did play, he didn't play effectively. And so Kurt Rambis was hobbled too. Okay. And Game one, Clint Richardson stepped up in game 1. Who was in foul trouble? Somebody was in foul trouble for Philly. It may have been Dr. J or somebody, but they inserted Clint Richardson into a tight game 1, and he scored 10 points, and that made the difference. And believe it or not, in game 2, it was another player, Earl Kiritan, with the Sixers, who made a difference. Provided some spark to the Philadelphia 76ers. And so the 76ers won big in game 3 in LA. Lakers jumped out early in game 4, had a 17-point lead. In the 4th game, Philadelphia cut it to 2, and that's when Dr. J took over. And Philadelphia won the NBA championship. And so, ironically, they were knocked out of the playoffs the very next year by and that 84 series between the Nets and the Sixers was pretty interesting because that series, neither team won on the opposing team's home court. New Jersey won the first 2 games of that series. Philadelphia came back and took 2 in New Jersey. And the New Jersey Nets came back and eliminated the Sixers in Philadelphia. Yeah, so weird. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So I want to touch on the Seattle SuperSonics of 1990, 91, and 91 to 92. Okay. So the Sonics had finished 41-41 in 1990, and Casey Jones was the assistant to Bernie Bickerstaff. Bernie Bickerstaff leaves for the Denver Nuggets in the offseason, and Casey Jones is brought in. Needless to say, Casey Jones and Gary Payton did not see eye to eye that rookie year. Just ask Gary Payton. Gary Payton said that he was so frustrated with Casey Jones that Gary Payton nearly retired after his rookie year. And Gary Payton said he began to hate basketball. He hated basketball while Casey Jones was there. The Sonics were going through some swift changes during the 99-91 season. Okay. Xavier McDaniel was traded to the Suns for Eddie Johnson. They traded Dale Ellis to the Bucks for Ricky Pierce. And earlier that season, they sent Olden Polynice to the Clippers for Benoit Benjamin. Okay. And so there was a lot of change that year. And you got to remember something. The Sonics had Benoit Benjamin, Scott Meeks, Dave Corzine, Dana Barros, Sedell Threet, Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, Derek McKee. So it was a team. I think I said Dana Barros already, didn't I? They also had Quentin Daly as well. Had a guy named Quentin Daly as well. And so and Nate McMillan too. So that was the 99-91 squad. But it was real funny because the Sonics already had Nate McMillan and Sedell Threet going into the 1990 season. Okay. Nate primarily played point guard. Nate McMillan primarily played point guard. Okay. Sedell Threet could play the point and the shooting guard. And then the Sonics go and draft Dana Barros in 1989. Okay. Then they follow that up by drafting Gary Payton the next year. Okay. So there was a log jam. There at guard. Not just at point guard, but at shooting guard, because you had Barros, Threet, Payton, and McMillan. And then on top of that, you add Ricky Pierce mid-season, who could play a little bit of guard. So there was a real log jam, okay? And I would say I think Sedell Threet was the shooting guard that year. And Gary Payton started all 82 games as a rookie. And he was backed by Nate McMillan, which kind of put Dana Barros as the odd man out. As sort of the odd man out. Because they were loaded at guard. The Sonics were loaded at guard. But McDaniel was averaging 22 points at the time of the trade. They bring in Eddie Johnson and Ricky Pierce. They both averaged around 17.5 points a game. Sonics finished 41-41. Took the Portland Trailblazers to 5. Eddie Johnson averaged 24 points per game in that series. He had 34 in Game 4. And Sedell Threet had 29 in Game 3, including the game-winning three-pointer after Kevin Duckworth had scored on the tip end. So Sedell Threet hit the game-winning three-pointer. Okay. And so they take the Sonics to 5 games. They take the Trailblazers to 5 games that year, and Daniel Barros all of a sudden had an opening because Seattle 3 was traded to the Lakers to back up Magic. Magic retired shortly before the season or shortly after the season started. Magic retired, so Seattle 3 was starting for the Lakers. Then that opened up things for Barros because Peyton was still the starting guard and he was backed by Nate McMillan. But I think they moved Ricky Pierce into Seattle 3's shooting guard spot. But that opened things up more for Daniel Barros. So the Sonics were 18-18 midway through the 91-92 season, and that's when Casey Jones was let go. The Sonics at that time, again, were a team in transition. They were seen as inconsistent, immature. So, Casey Jones had a laissez-faire. They say Casey Jones had a laissez-faire coaching style. And I think that really worked with the Boston Celtics. I think that kind of coaching style worked with the Boston Celtics because the Celtics were veterans. The Celtics were veterans. Casey had played there, and now he coached there. So, let me just drop this one note on the 86 Celtics. I think they were the closest team that I've seen to probably coach themselves, okay? They were probably the closest team that I saw to coach themselves. Besides the, you remember when active players were coaching the Golden State Warriors in a game in Phoenix a few years ago. But, yeah, so Casey Jones was seen as, coaching style was seen as laissez-faire. And he didn't get on the guys as much. Okay. And that really didn't go over well with the players when he was let go. And so Casey Jones was kind of reluctant to play Dana Barros. Yeah, he was really reluctant to play Dana Barros, but George Karl comes in after Casey Jones, and Dana Barros begins to play. So yeah. But Seattle 3's trade to the Lakers opened up things for Dana Barros, just not right away. Okay. Because, like I said, Casey Jones was a little bit reluctant to play him. And the Sonics were seen as immature and inconsistent as well. So yeah. And so I mentioned that Gary Payton and Casey Jones didn't see eye to eye. Well, and Payton was complaining that he wasn't getting a lot of minutes. He started all 82 games and he averaged 27 minutes a game. 27 minutes a game is like real minutes. If anyone who plays in the NBA, 27 minutes a game is like real minutes. Those are real minutes. But like I said, he hated Casey. He didn't like Casey Jones. Casey Jones didn't like him. So, also that season in 1991, you remember when a few videos ago when I made a video about the Bulls versus Knicks and how Trent Tucker hit a game-winning 3 with 0.1 seconds left on the clock. Well, in the offseason, the NBA introduced what they call the Trent Tucker rule, okay? And they implemented that during the 1990 offseason, okay? Which would take effect in 1991, okay? But they put in place the Trent Tucker rule because Trent Tucker was able to get a shot off with 0.1 seconds left, okay? So the Trent Tucker rule was put in place that prevents any shot to be taken with at least 0.2 seconds left on the clock. Okay. So, when I think of the Trent Tucker rule, I immediately thought of Derek Fisher, 2004. Okay. That's what I thought of. Okay. That's what I just thought of as I'm talking to you. The Trent Tucker rule. Derek Fisher just popped into my head. Literally. Versus San Antonio. 0.4. Derek Fisher, 0.4. So, so the Trent Tucker rule took effect in 91. Just like the NFL instituted the Michael Irvin rule. The Michael Irvin rule. Yeah, so I want to work my way back around to the Seattle SuperSonics. So by 1993, the Sonics were pretty much an NBA powerhouse. Peyton had developed, Kemp had developed. You still had Derek McKee, Ricky Pierce. You still had Eddie Johnson, Dana Bayros. And so and not only that, how can I forget the guy who had the curl? Michael Cage, how could I forget him, man? Oh, how could I forget Michael Cage, man? Yeah. I say Michael Cage and AC Green, two of the most famous curls in the NBA. But if you recall, AC Green no longer had the curl. AC Green no longer had the curl at the end of the 1990 season, and Michael Cage by 1992 no longer had the curl too. So anyway, so the Sonics went 55-27 in 1993 and advanced to the Western Conference Finals to play the Phoenix Suns. And it was a back and forth. And the Sonic Suns rivalry goes back to 1976. Okay. Goes back to 1976 when the Suns eliminated the Sonics in the 76 Western Conference Finals. Then the Suns went on to upset the Warriors that year to advance to the NBA Finals against the Celtics. Then in 1979, Seattle, during Seattle's championship run, they beat the Suns along the way to win their first championship. Okay. And so fast forward to 1993. You have the reigning MVP, Charles Barkley, and you have these up-and-coming Sonics with Kemp and Peyton at the helm. And it was a back and forth series. Went to 7 games. Of course, it was Game 7, where Barkley had the 44-24 game. But there was also this right here. In Game 7, Eddie Johnson, Sean Kemp, and Nate McMillan all fouled out. And Phoenix shot 64 free throws that game. And Seattle shot around 35. Or between 35 and 38, okay. Phoenix shot 64 free throws that game. Eddie Johnson, Sean Kemp, and Nate McMillan all fouled out. And the Sonics had this theory that the NBA wanted to see Phoenix and Chicago. They wanted Barkley and Jordan, not Jordan and not Jordan and Kemp. Okay. Now, I wouldn't mind seeing the Bulls Sonics series in 1993, which we actually got 3 years later. Okay. But I wouldn't have had no problem with seeing Sonics versus Bulls in the 1993 NBA Finals. But there was this widespread belief along the Seattle SuperSonics that the league wanted Barkley and Jordan in the NBA Finals. So, again, Phoenix shot 64 free throws. Seattle shot between 35 and 38. What do you know? Suns go to the NBA Finals, okay? So yeah. All right. That's it. That's all for Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am Sean Farrell. May God bless you all. Peace out.